everyone. This is Robin Shockley with the Focus Forward with Robin show. We are here at the Regina Sunshine Global Network. We're here at 4040 Chapel Hill Road in Douglasville, Georgia, and I am so excited about my show today. We have got some amazing guests that are going to be on today, and we've got a really neat topic that we're going to talk about at the end of the show. So you want to make sure that you stay tuned so you can be a part of it and get educated on how life is. I've got two amazing actors that are coming on. They're entrepreneurs, they're models, and they've got a fabulous story that they're going to share with us. But I want to tell you a little bit about the purpose of our show. The purpose of the show is to help you to think, believe, and achieve a thing. And with me saying that, I want you to understand that your dreams can become a reality if you do those three aspects in life. And you know what? Sometimes we get stuck. Sometimes we have moments and we get in despair and we don't believe or think that we can achieve anything. But if you have a pit to purpose story, just like the guests that are going to be on my show today, you can do these things just as myself. The show Focus Forward with Robin was actually birthed out of my own pit, my own pain of what I've come out of. And I decided I wanted to make something with my life and make it progress by including other people, other entrepreneurs, other individuals, and let them share their story and give them this platform. So that's the whole purpose, and I wanted to share that with you. I am a motivational speaker. I'm a red carpet correspondent. I'm a blogger. I do a lot of different things. And so Focus Forward Robin is all about helping somebody move forward into their purpose from their pit stages. And so I want to go over with you who are my sponsors for the show that I do. I have a couple of them. One of them is Heart of the Carolinas, which is located out of Malden, South Carolina. Heart of the Carolinas is a home care business. It's based on helping individuals get that TLC care. If you are a senior citizen or you're a special needs child and you need that TLC and you want to stay in your own home if you're a senior, or you have a mom or a dad or an aunt or a great uncle or something that you just need, you know, them to be taken care of without having them feeling like they're being pulled away from society, but they can still live in the comfort of their own home. Let me know. I would love to hook you up and connect you with Heart of the Carolinas here in Malden, South Carolina, and they would love to help assist you to just meet with you and just get some information. Also, another sponsor that I have is Miss Tangi Roseborough. She has a magazine and a TV show, and it's called Pain to Purpose. I am one of the contributing writers for her Pain to Purpose magazine. I write articles and blogs, as well as I do it's called Tasteful Tips and Trips. I love to travel, as everyone knows. So I go around and I write about food places that I visit, and I give you my viewpoint and my review, and it's amazing. So if you would like to get one of the magazines with my articles in it and some other amazing contributing authors that are in that magazine of Tangi Roseborough's Pain to Purpose, just let me know. I'll be glad to send you the link so you can get your copy. Another person that I write for is Miss Drina Torres. She is a celebrity hairstylist with Infinite Magazine out of Los Angeles, California. And I do the same thing with her magazine. So if you would like to get a copy of hers as well, let me know. I'd love to hook you up. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to have my first guest, Mr. Tobias Armand. He is going to share with us his story and what he's got going on in his life today. and welcome back to the Focus Forward with Robin show here at the Regina Sunshine Global Network at 4040 Chapel Hill Road in Studio T. I have my very first guest today, Mr. Tobias Armand.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad that you're here today.
So happy to see you again. I was
Yes.
looking forward to getting a chance to sit down and speak with you.
I know. Listen, we met. Oh my gosh, we met actually at the Atlanta Actors Awards, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and it was not by accident because it was at the very end, and it was crazy at that. And thanks to Miss Regina Sunshine Robinson for me being her PR to get in the house and to be able to represent the Regina Sunshine Global Network. I was so excited about that. But through that, with Mr. Kelvin Chill Harris,
Yes.
I was able to meet you, and we just hit it off, and you told me a little bit about yourself, and we talked about getting you on the show, and it just worked out that you were able to do it today. I'm excited.
Oh, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your bio because it's so much in detail, and I'm really excited because I've got some questions I want to ask you, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. All right. This is Tobias Armand, and he is an American actor, voiceover artist, stunt performer, model, and sketch artist with additional experience in production management and cast directing. He's appeared in several films, television productions, web series, and stage plays. He's best known for his role in Marvel and Disney's multi-billion Black Panther in 2018 and War Angel. The Awakening of 2018. One of his most recent roles landed on Bounce's primetime television series, Saints and Sinners. I've watched that. And TV One's For My Man. Tobias was born Timothy Armand Sansbury as a New York native. Tobias was raised in the Bedford, Stuyvesant neighborhood of the borough of New York City. Woo, New Yorker. He later attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. with a degree in pre-medicine psychology before pursuing his career in acting. He developed a passion for acting and later moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to pursue his goals. Once relocated, Tobias enrolled at Nick Conti's professional acting studio in the Buckhead area of Atlanta. He left the training studio after 1 year to seek promising opportunity as a working actor and a voiceover artist. His first paid role was a commercial voiceover project in New York City for the Pfizer, one of the world's premier biopharmaceutical companies. The experience ignited a desire to gain even more experience in all facets of the industry. This led to an additional roles in acting, stunt work, production, sound management, modeling, and voiceover acting. He is a rising star with an insatiable appetite for success. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. This is big right here.
Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it.
You have done some amazing things. And one of the things I want to know about you is, how did all this stir up? Have you always been interested in acting and doing stunts and things like that?
Oh man, it's just amazing how everything just kind of came together.
Okay.
I've always wanted to go into modeling.
Okay.
But of course, I had to work full time and go to school full time. As you had said earlier, I was at Howard University, and I actually have a younger sister that's a very successful model and actress, and she's been pursuing it for years.
Okay.
So I kind of basically live vicariously through her, and we're just so proud.
Okay.
And opportunity presented itself, to actually start modeling.
Okay.
And that really was just a catalyst for a lot of different things. I ended up having an interview.
How old were you when you started getting in the field of it?
When I initially started, I was right around 30. So actually, I went in and met with the owner of the agencies, and she basically told me, she's like, you just have a look, that I like. She's like, I can see you doing commercials and a lot of different things. So, she steered me in the right direction of, the process of what I need to do to start branding myself, and so everything went from there.
Okay, so let's backtrack. Okay, let's go back. So you actually went to college for psychology, correct?
Actually, that was my minor. Actually, I always wanted to be an anesthesiologist. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, let's backtrack to your childhood because why did you want to be an anesthesiologist? Why did you
Oh
want to do
man,
that?
medical field has always been something that really just intrigued me. I
Okay.
always loved the biology and
Mhm.
all the different mathematics, things like that always intrigued me.
Mhm.
And I initially wanted to be a veterinarian since I was a small boy. I love animals,
Okay.
any kind.
Okay.
And as I got older, I actually had a grandfather that passed, and there was some
Okay.
complications with the anesthesia.
Okay.
So that was one of the things to where I felt that I wanted to understand more about the process
Okay.
and as to what happened. So once I did, it was just so meticulous, and it was something to where I just really gravitated towards. I was like, oh man, this is what I want to do.
Okay, so then
So
you started pursuing that. That's the direction of your life that you wanted to go through,
yes.
and to do that. But then you had this shift because your sister was involved in the acting and modeling and all that and
Yes, yes.
stuff. And
I was always told at an early age is that you can either live an ordinary life or an extraordinary one.
okay,
And I know sometimes that there are certain opportunities that come along,
mhm,
so everything actually has its time. And at that
mhm,
time, my main goal was to finish school and get an education. I always
okay,
knew that that was a pivotal thing for me.
okay,
So I went to school, and she really took off, doing a lot of different things with the modeling.
mhm,
And opportunity, her agency actually opened up a location in Atlanta.
okay.
And she contacted me, and she's like, "Bro, you still interested in modeling?" And went from there.
So are you? So how many siblings do you have?
I actually have a younger sister and a younger brother.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm the oldest.
Okay, so it's your younger sister that was doing the modeling?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. So has your family always been, well grounded and, and has been influential in your life or
Yes, we're very close knit. My
okay.
family is very important to me.
Okay.
I mean, Mother's Day just passed, and
Mhm.
man, that's just one of the things that's so important is family.
Mhm. And
You
you're
know,
from South is it no, you're not from South Carolina, but you have family in South
you have a good
Carolina.
memory.
I
Yes,
do.
yes,
I
yes.
remember my interview. Listen, I always have good memory in my interviews.
I like that.
It's other things I don't have good memory with, but yeah.
Yes, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, but my mother resides in South Carolina, and I have
Okay.
some extended family there. So
Okay.
I try to get there as often as I can to see
Mhm.
family. But yes, family is very important to me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're one of the ones that you strive for success for.
Okay.
And they actually
Yes.
set the
Okay.
stone for you.
So let me ask you this: Did have you always had your life put together? Has life always treated you like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do? I want to be an anesthesiologist. I want to be a veterinarian. I'm going to go for my goals, and I'm going to and then I'm going to get into my. I know there had to be some glitches to help you because everybody has a story,
Yes,
and so
yes.
we want to know what your story is to know what has been a trigger to make you go one way versus going another way.
Well, I think that in life we always know that there is a safe route, and
Okay.
then there are things that you're taught that may be a little intangible.
Okay.
It's like, oh, you're daydreaming. That's something that's hard to attain.
Yeah.
And I would say right when I was around 29, I actually found out that I developed cancer. So I'm a cancer survivor. I
Wow.
went through a very tough ordeal. It was an emotional roller coaster,
Mhm.
So of course you can imagine, physically, emotionally, went through a lot of different things.
Mhm.
Actually, I was in a wheelchair for some time, learned to walk again, had to grow my hair back. It was a lot of
You were
different
how old? You
things.
said 29.
29. So
Wow.
very, very young. I was actually at a fork in the road in my life, and
Mhm.
it was one of the things that really made me understand that what is important in life.
Yes.
You never promise tomorrow. So, because you know what? I said, I'm going to take this opportunity and
Mhm.
I'm going to go after my dreams.
Mhm.
And so that's exactly what I did. So,
Wow. So it's kind of like that country song that Tim McGraw sings, "Live Like You're Dying,"
yeah,
so to speak. Because
yeah,
you were, like you said, you were confined in a wheelchair, and it seemed like all hope was lost. So basically, you did. See, I thought you were coming on here that everything was put together. I mean, how am I going to find out this guy has a story? But oh my word, you really do
yeah.
have a story, and you made something of it.
I mean, to be at that age and to think about your mortality at such a young
Yes.
age, it just really puts things in perspective. There's so many things that we take for granted. I mean, just to hear the birds chirping or to wake up every day
Mhm.
and seeing the sun,
Mhm.
it's one of the things that
Mhm.
really allows you to put things in order.
Yes.
And it's one of the things to where I said, you know what, you never promise tomorrow.
Mhm.
So one of the things I always say, I never want to end up later in life with regrets.
Yes.
So one thing I always tell people, and I always tell my younger siblings, at least give yourself the opportunity to say that you tried,
Mhm.
and if you don't succeed, at least you didn't have to wonder what if.
What
You know,
if?
so
Yeah.
definitely.
Wow, that is so amazing.
Thank you.
So, with you, what made you shift that mindset to be able to say, okay, I'm dealing with this, and what was it that helped you bounce back?
I say one of the things was I was actually hospitalized for some time, and I remember one night the physician came in and told my mother I had a 30% chance that I would survive, and just to go through that process and really persevere and see how my family came together for me is one of the things that really just put things in perspective. And I said, man, if I can beat this and I can overcome this, there's nothing that can hold me back. So
Wow.
I really
But
just put the
what
gears in
got you
motion.
to think that? I mean, what helped you make that decision? Was there somebody that helped you,
I,
shift in that direction, or something, or
my mother was a big motivator in that, and
okay,
my sister, she was actually traveling overseas, with
okay,
modeling and doing things like that. She stopped everything that she was doing. She
mhm,
came and she was by my bedside. And it's one of the things I just had to remember in life. A lot of times you can give advice, but one
mhm,
of the things that gets hardest for us is to be able to take that advice for yourself.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
don't I know it?
so,
Yes,
it's one of the things we had a
yes,
heart to heart one night,
mhm,
and it's like one of the things to where you go through so many different challenges, and
mhm,
it's one of the things to where if you can't fight for yourself, you fight for your loved ones.
mhm,
And it was one of the situations to where I really seen what was needed. I was like, I'm gonna make the best of whatever time that I have left,
yeah.
and that's what really made. And I've been very blessed. It's been over 10 years, and no complications. I mean, when I go to my physician on my checkups,
Wow.
it's just like, oh man, you're a miracle baby.
Oh,
So
that is
just very
amazing.
blessed. So.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. So tell me, what are some of the things that you've got going on today?
Oh man, my schedule is so crazy. Well, I do work full time, so that's
So
a
what do you
challenge
do?
itself.
What do you do?
I'm a logistics director.
Okay.
So I handle all of the HR compliance, DOT regulations, things like that. We do shipments, large intermodal containers
Okay.
overseas.
Okay.
So a lot of commodities over to Asia and things like that.
Mhm.
But as you know, as you said earlier, I'm also an actor, a
Mhm.
model, voiceover artist, and also a stunt person.
Okay.
So I always wanted to get into modeling. Acting always intrigued me,
Okay.
but I was just like, man, they just had to remember so much. I don't know, how
Okay.
well I would do with that. But the door just really opened up. I did a couple of photo shoots, and there was an opportunity. I was approached.
Uh huh.
One of the things I've always heard about is my presence and my voice. I always get
Uh huh. You do have
feedback
that
in regard
distinctive voice.
about
Yes.
my voice.
Mhm.
So my first project is at Pfizer,
Yeah.
and I had an opportunity to travel back home to New York. So I just, I loved it, and it was a great opportunity. So
Yeah.
I went from there, and I was just like, man, if it comes across my table, I'm going to jump at it and see what I do.
Yeah. So what? Because Black Panther is like big. That's like a thing.
Oh
Where did that
man,
come from?
Black Panther. Wow, that's such an iconic movie.
Uh huh.
So proud of it for so many different reasons.
Mhm.
It broke many barriers,
Mhm.
and it just set the precedent for so many films after it.
Mhm.
Black Panther was actually a project that I was approached on, actually on my modeling page. It's amazing how
So
modeling
see,
it
see,
attaches in,
yeah.
because they were looking for a particular look,
Okay.
as one of the warriors, and I was approached. It's like, man, it's your build, your size, and it's funny because a lot of times people when they see me on social media, it's like, oh, I think you maybe about 5'8", 5'9". It's like, no, I'm a big guy. I'm like
Yeah.
6'3". So they approached me and it's just like, I think that you would be really well suited for this role.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it was that I was actually at a photo shoot booked
Mhm.
with a very well known published photographer
Okay.
in New York,
Okay.
and I was kind of at the fork in the road as to what to make the decision because at the time the way I was approached, when you do new projects, especially if it's something that's really big budget,
Okay.
they kind of keep a little anonymity, so you don't
Okay.
necessarily know how big it is.
Okay.
I got the feeling that it was a good opportunity, and something just told me to go for it.
Wow.
And
See,
man,
I love that, and I want to talk about that because you're saying something told you just go for it.
mhm.
So, what when you get that urge to say, okay, you know what? Because in your mind you're thinking, that's impossible. That's something so big. There's
Right.
no way. But something told you to go for it, and what gave you that strength to say, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make this happen.
I don't know. It's just something that came over me. It was one of the things to where I always said a big dream was to be able to be some type of superhero or to be attached to something
Yeah.
that had an iconic presence.
Okay.
And Black Panther definitely was it. And it's a movie that people have wanted to put on the screen for decades. So something told me like what, this came across for a reason.
Yeah.
So take advantage of it. And I jumped
That's
on it.
right. I love it. Now, tell me, because on your social media page, I seen that there was some photo shoots about a brand or something that said. Let's talk about that brand. Let's talk about that.
The recent photo shoot I did with Rob the Rich, clothing line. So
whose clothing line is this?
It's Rob the Rich. It's Rich Visuals is the photographer, and it's the clothing line is I think his name is Rich. I think it's Johnson. I can't remember his last name exactly, but very well known. I was actually approached about doing a project, and I love the mission statement behind it.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's something that's kind of controversial. It's like, oh my God, Rob the Rich.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's one of those things to where there are certain things that are opportunities.
Okay.
You see them, you grasp them. So it really just intrigued me. I said, I can do this. And it turned from a photo shoot to a video shoot, so it was definitely a good opportunity.
Well, I was seeing the photos, and they look so great,
thank you.
And our next guest is on there, Miss Daria, and she looked gorgeous and beautiful, which was really exciting. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm loving all the things that's going on with you, and it's amazing. So tell me what exactly you could be inspiration to somebody that, that has a dream and they have a vision, especially to overcome if they're dealing with something and they think, my life is just over. There's no way that I could pursue. I'm of age now. I'm like over 30 now and nothing's happening. What can I do to make something happen? What can you say to our viewers to be an encouragement to them?
No, one of the things that I've learned very on is that you never want to go through life and putting certain limitations on your potential. I know one of the things that I heard at an early age, it's funny because even when I was in medical school, I had so many people have so many derogatory things to say as like, oh man, you know how long you're going to be in school? Do you know so many people that don't make it? And one of the things I went to my mother one day and I was like, you know what? I said, it's really ironic that you have people that are much more amped to give you something negative in comparison to something motivating. And she told me, she said, a lot of times people place parameters on their life because of the fact that they have those limitations for themselves.
Wow.
So in life, if there's something that you cannot go to sleep and it's on your mind, go for it. What's the worst that can happen? You can say that, you know what, I put my best effort forward, I gave it my all, and if it's meant to be, it will.
So you can shift that mindset.
You can, definitely.
Yes.
I mean, that's where it begins with you. Mindset is a powerful thing. So many different travels in my life, even with battling cancer, mindset is what really persevered.
Guys, listen, this is an amazing story. Definitely a pit to purpose story. This gentleman right here, I love it. He is an overcomer. He literally made his mind up to think a thing so he could believe it. And once he believed it, he decided he's going to achieve it. And he is achieving his dreams. I love it. I love the passion in your heart. I love the fire. And it's so exciting to be able, because you welcomed me when we did the interview. You were just like, and you said something to me that touched my heart so much because you said, keep being you, Robin. Yes. Keep that bubbly spirit about you. And it was so funny because somebody had told me recently, they said, you're just too bubbly all the time. You're always bubbly, and you need to tone it down a little bit. But, why change if something's working for you?
You have to be true to yourself. Yes. You have such an infectious spirit. And I've seen that because anything that I've seen that has your name attached to it, people have such great things to say about you, so keep being yourself.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I appreciate that so much. Guys, this has been a wonderful interview today that we've had with Mr. Tobias Armand. I'm excited. He's going to come back at the end, and we're going to have some talk time, and we're going to have some conversations. We're going to talk about some things, but we're going to take a brief break, and thank you again so much for being on the show. It's been amazing.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, Robin. Good to see you again.
You too.
Thanks.
We'll be right back right after this with my next guest, Miss Daria Lomax. Welcome back, everyone. This is Robin Shockley with the Focus Forward Robin Show. We are here at Regina Sunshine Global Network at 4040 Chapel Hill Road at Studio T. And I have my very next guest that's with me today, Miss Dari Lomax, the beautiful beauty queen she is.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'm going to read your bio, and I am so glad that you're here because when I read her bio, I was like blown away. Woman, you are amazing. You are a woman on the rise for sure.
Thank you.
So I'm going to read a little bit about Miss Dari, and then we're going to dig in, and we're going to ask some questions, and then we're going to talk about some things, okay?
All right.
All right. Dari Lomax is a published model, actress, designer, seamstress, cosmetologist, and entrepreneur. Much of her success stems from challenges she faced and overcame early on in life. The responsibility of caring for 5 of her 9 younger siblings in a tough environment forced her to grow up faster than anticipated. Adversity presented itself very early for this young lady. Born on June 24th in 1987 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to a young and misguided mother, life was anything but simple. Although she was raised in the foster care system, Dari finally found a home with some sense of stability, along with 3 of her sisters and foster brothers. Despite the years of abuse and bullying, she learned to embrace her awkwardness and flourish with love of music of the arts. From the very beginning, there was an admiration for beauty pageants and ballet. I can see that because you're gorgeous. This awoke the artist in her, and she began to sketch, create, master puzzles, and even learn to play the clarinet.
My favorite.
Yes, she went on to win a number of awards and different accolades for her talents. From there, she graduated high school 4th in her class and attended college. Psychology and early childhood education were her focus. Even with her gained focus in these fields, her artistic side struck another interest, which was photography. She then pursued that dream. The love for photography, coupled with the love for design, sparked her current focus in the modeling industry shortly after the birth of her first child. She continued to excel in booking fashion, commercial, and print shoots, and upon the birth of her second child, was inspired to create her own clothing label, oh my gosh, per Dari. Much like many before her, modeling also led to the world of acting. In life, we are not always given all we need in the beginning of the race, but how we finish depends on us. Did you write that quote?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Well, it's a very beautiful quote, and it fits you to a T. Miss Dari, you are an amazing young woman, and you know it says you were born in.
Talk.
Oh, hush your mouth. You were born in 1987, and you look so young.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you look so young. I am so glad that you're on the show. And you know what? When I met you at the Atlanta Actors Awards, I was representing the Regina Sunshine Global Network, and you were very quiet. And
always quiet.
I know that you were just, and that's what's so amazing. It's because you were very quiet and you kind of stood off, you know, let Tobias stand in the limelight, or so to speak. And then I'm like, I got to get a picture with this girl. She is beautiful. And then I started talking to you. And then I was like, wow, you've got a story too. And then when I got your bio and I found out about your history, not just your career, you would never know. And definitely you are a pit to purpose story, because there's so many people out there that have been through something and they've gone through so many things in their childhood, and it's caused insecurities and such, and they don't know how to rise from it. So let's go back to your childhood. So you were actually raised in a foster home.
In 5. I got adopted in my 5th foster home. And it was rough.
How old were you
when I got adopted? I think I was about.
No, when you from the times you were in the foster home.
From my understanding, I was in there from the time I was before I was a year old. I'm not sure exactly how old, but before I was a year old, I was placed in foster care. And the funny thing about it is I've always known my mother. She's always been, you know, we've had visitation. It took I was like 13 when I got adopted. So up until I got adopted, we had visitation and all of that. So I've always known who my mother was. She just couldn't get it together.
Wow. So you were 13. So all that time you were in several different foster homes and such. What was going through your mind as a child? I mean, seriously, I know there had to be, because me personally, I grew up in a home where I was close with my mother and my dad, who was my stepdad. He raised me, so he is my dad. But my biological dad wasn't in my life. So even though I was in an environment, I still went through a period of rejection and insecurities, and it was when I was an adult when I realized all my insecurities. So for you not to have this, and you actually lived in these homes, what was going through, a little child's mind?
It was a lot because I was fortunate enough to be with I have a sister that's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
So we were together from the time
Okay.
she was born until we got, even after we got adopted. So it was a lot. I mean, we were in foster homes where people would, like, we'd be there for the summer. So we were actually in a home where a lady would put us out in the morning and tell us not to come back until the street lights came on. And at that time, I believe I was in like first grade. So my sister was, no, I was in second grade and my sister was in kindergarten. So we were really young, just running the streets of Pittsburgh.
Wow. Do people do that today?
I'm pretty sure.
People that
Yeah,
are like in the projects
that
and
are,
things,
yeah.
and or people that come from homes where they don't have it together, so to speak, or whatever.
Yeah, there are, because when I aged out, I held a job where I was basically a mentor to other children that are in the system currently. So I was able to share my experience with them and gain and already not even have to gain, but already have an understanding for what they were going through. But growing up, it was, and then I was a really awkward kid too. And it was like, where did I get this stuff from? I didn't begin to wonder where I got, like, I'm double jointed and I can draw. And I didn't know where any of that came from. So as I got older, I found out my mom could draw. So she was a really good artist and I got that from her. But there were a lot of things that were unanswered until I was in my 20s. And that's when I was like 19, I left my adopted foster mother because things were rough. We were adopted there,
Okay.
and things were still rough, but it was more stable than any place that we had been.
Wow.
So,
Did you know your father?
I didn't meet my father. I remember when I was like 14, I got a letter from my father, I got a phone call from my father, and that was the only time I had heard from him. But then when I started to search for him. When I was 19, I moved out of my adoptive mother's home.
Okay.
And I went and found my biological family. So I moved in with my grandmother when I was 19. And that's when I began to learn so much about where I came from.
Your history of who you were.
And, my mother, she wouldn't tell me who my father was. There were she had two different options. And I found both of them, did DNA tests, and when I found out who my father was when I was 28.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was 28 when I actually found out who he really was. Wow. Which one?
Wow. Do you have a relationship with your parents today, or?
So my mom is she got clean for a while, and now she went back into her struggle. So I have a little bit of contact with her. And then my father, we're not so close, but we do have like a small relationship. Like, we message each other back and forth here and there, and he checks in on the kids and stuff like that.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't have like a strong relationship with my biological mother or father.
Well, what about your foster parents that adopted you?
So my adoptive mother passed away in 2011.
Okay.
But my second foster mother had me for about 5 years. I still have contact with her. Like, we speak a few times a week. So.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Well, listen, let's talk about. So you figured out you had these gifts when you were young, and you come from a story of where you were, struggling with things, and as a child, and having to, live out on the street, so to speak.
Yeah, and it was hard to be comfortable with myself.
Yeah, and you were shy, I'm assuming. You're quiet and everything and such. So how did you develop? Was anybody influential in you discovering your potential and your gifts within?
I really don't. I mean, I had teachers and things like that, and I had therapists, but I can't really think about who had a big influence on me. Like, I don't really think I got comfortable with myself and began to learn who I was until I got out and started working. And then I met a woman, her name is Kimberly Fisher. She kind of sort of became my godmother. And she helped me a lot with just being more comfortable with who I was and just encouraging me and like, you know, anything I wanted to do, she was like, you can do it. Go ahead and do it. So
yeah. So she actually was somebody who would speak into you and stuff.
But that wasn't until I was 18.
Wow. So you had to come to a point, you had to believe in yourself. You really had to believe that you could rise up and become something great and stuff. So what would you say helped you have that confidence for you to even have that belief in yourself?
For me, I can always say that it was just looking and, you know, when we were younger, we were able to read our file and see or read about things that my mother had went through, probably things we really shouldn't have seen. And that for me was always like, you know, I want to be better than this. Like I want more than this out of life. I don't know where I got that mindset from. But for me, that was it. I always wanted more. I always wanted to do better.
So you knew something was, see, that I was the same way. I knew, you know, and actually I'm the only one that's in my family that's running and doing things like I'm doing today and stuff. And, you know, and I questioned that before. I was like, why don't somebody else want to come and do this? You know, you need to come and join me. But that's not for them. This was for me. And and I recognized that about me, that I knew I was set apart. I knew I was created for a purpose. I knew I was different. And that's the same thing with you.
My grandfather calls me the gem of the family.
The gem of the family. I love that. I love that. So what is it, because of the things that you're doing, having your own clothing line, which is an amazing thing, Pure Dari, you know, and stuff, and then, you know, being the seamstress and being a model, you're gorgeous. I love your eyelashes, by the way. And your color looks good, your orange, your purple, it's so pretty, the blends together. So what is it, if there's somebody that's struggling out here and they really don't have that confidence or that encouragement, and they don't have anybody influential in their life. The whole purpose of us having the Focus Forward Robin show is to give people like you a platform to share your story, but also to be an encouragement to the viewers so they can know that if you can make it, they can make it. So what would you say to the viewers about?
So when I was working with young girls in the system, one thing that I would always tell them, you know, they had these dreams and goals. They wanted to model, they wanted to do all types of things, but it was always someone on the other end telling them not to do it. Reasons why they shouldn't. I'm like, okay, so what are the reasons you think you should? Always find a reason you think you should be doing something. Weigh the pros and the cons, and if the pros outweigh the cons, go with it. Be yourself. Be comfortable in who you are, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what people are saying, because 9 times out of 10, you're the one that has to make you happy in the end.
That's right.
No one else can make you happy.
That's right. And you're the one that's got to live with yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I love it. It's such an amazing thing of what you're doing. And your hands are, like just Tobias, is into everything.
Like,
I love it. Yes, because when I was trying to get your bio, you're like, girl, I haven't stopped. I haven't been asleep.
My goodness.
It was like crazy. And so, but I am just so thankful that you took the time to be able to come on the show today and, you know, out of your busy schedule to come here and just share your story and be a part of the Focus Forward show.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, and you're so beautiful, not just on the outside, you're beautiful in the heart.
Thank you.
And I'm excited for what God's doing in your life and where you're going in your purpose. So
thank you.
Yes, and we're going to be right back with you and Tobias because we're going to talk about some other things, okay? All right, guys, this is Robin Shockley with the Focus Forward Robin Show, and we are having an exciting time today. I've had my guest Tobias on here. I had Miss Dari on here, and we just talked about, you know, believing and thinking and achieving and following our passions. And one of the things that Dari has said is that, you know what, she had to have that potential within herself. She had to recognize that there was a purpose for her life and for her to be able to run with it. And so she chose to do that. And she did have somebody, one person that she said that spoke into her, which is wonderful. But some people might not have that. And so if you don't have anybody that's speaking into your life, you need to make sure that you reach out and connect. Or maybe you could find somebody like you did with doing a mentoring program as well. You know, everybody needs somebody. Don't seclude yourself. Don't go in hiding. Don't keep yourself separate from people, because people do need you and you need people. That's what it's all about, this life, right?
Right.
All right, we're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to have some conversation talk, and we're going to talk about some big subjects in our lives that we deal with on a daily basis. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is Robin Shockley with the Focus Forward with Robin show here at the Regina Sunshine Global Network at Studio T. We have had a fabulous show today. I've had two great guests on my show, Tobias and Ms. Dari. We have talked about some things, about the pit to purpose stories, about how they can think, believe, and achieve a thing, things that they've been through in their personal life. Tobias shared about how he has overcome cancer and he decided to live like he was dying, following his passion, following his dreams, and making things happen. Miss Dari, she came from being a foster child and who had a quiet sense of humor, but yet she just knew there was something different and unique about her, and she made purpose for her life, and I love it. It's so amazing. And so now she's excelling as an entrepreneur in so many different levels, just as Tobias is. And so it's just been a great show, and I'm so glad that you guys have joined today. Have y'all enjoyed it?
Yes.
Yes.
I had to make it.
Yes, had to make it. It's been amazing, and I love it. Well, we're just going to do a brief few minutes to talk about something, a subject that's really dear to my heart. I've been talking about it on Facebook a lot, and literally it's the subject of breakups.
Yeah.
Okay, we deal with so many different breakups. We have intimate relationship breakups. We have church relationship breakups. We have business relationship breakups. And so there's so many different levels of breakups, because when people think about breaking up, you think about, you're breaking up with your girlfriend or you're breaking up with your husband and, and things like that. But, whenever somebody's going through a breakup, it's hard when other people are involved, right?
Yes.
And I'll just give a prime example, okay? My husband and I, we were married for like 28 years, right? So when we broke up, I broke up with everybody. Everybody broke up with me. He broke up with everybody that we were together. It's like that community of church that we were involved with, the community of family split up, and it was hard because it put people in an awkward position to fill out how do they need to take sides. So what they do is they just shut down. So the people that I was couples with, they went out of sight. Never saw them again. People that I went to church with, I'm just going to be real here. People that I went to church with, didn't hear from them anymore. And that's when you need people the most, right?
Definitely.
And so, this is so important. This is a vital thing and very important, because when people go through a loss of a breakup, whether it's leaving a church or whether it's in a marriage or a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or it could be a business, relationship that, you grown together in a business and then you have to break up because of whatever reasons, and part ways. And it's just so hard because the people that are around you, it puts them in a position of uncomfortableness, but that's when they need you the most, right?
Exactly.
So what is your viewpoint on breakups?
It's hard. It is hard for everyone, and it really depends on the breakup. In my lifetime, being in, the foster homes and, regaining relationships with my family or learning my family a lot. Like when I finally learned who my family were, like my grandmother, my grandfather, all of them, I learned that. When you start to learn people and relationships and whether they're family or not, you learn a lot of the times things happen and you have to learn, because like I love my family.
Yes.
Family is huge to me. So I never wanted to have to, live with my family, have to cut people off. But when certain things happen, so for me, the way I handle my family, when it comes to my grandmother, my mother, I have to handle them with a long handled spoon.
Okay.
Because it's always like a take, and I can't always do that. I have my own family, I have my own children, so I can't always be a giver in a situation, and it's so hard for me because I'm a giver. I struggle. About to be 32. I'm just now learning how to say no with no regrets or without feeling bad.
And that's a hard thing too. It's because that can cause an issue when you are saying no, when you know that it could cost you. You could lose that relationship, whether it's, in family or whether it's a friendship breakup, or business or church or whatever. It can cost you, and you think about it. And a lot of times we hold on. We stay in a damaging toxic relationship
So
for
true.
fear
Right.
for fear of losing that person or the people that are surrounding them.
Exactly. And then
So
when the relationship changes, it's like, it's not always a bad thing for a relationship to change. Like even in a marriage, it's not a bad thing that, you guys decide you don't want to be married anymore. It's just, at this point, like if you have kids together, what's the next step? Because we can't be together, but we
Yeah.
have a child together. So what's the next step?
Yeah.
And co-parenting is that next step. It doesn't mean you got to hate each other and talk bad about each other. You can still be cordial, even be friends if you want to.
that's where maturity comes in
Exactly.
too.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of maturity needs to be involved in that. So what you were going to say?
And
Something?
that's not always the easiest thing. Like you're saying as earlier, a lot of times when you have a breakup, many times you feel like you're walking on eggshells. You don't want to cause any type of negative vibes or energy or cause conflict. I think that it's important to always try your best to make sure things are amicable.
Okay.
There are times to where there may not necessarily something that you can easily do
Okay.
right from the very beginning. Sometimes, as Dari was saying, is that sometimes you need distance. That way that you can recollect your thoughts and be able to approach it in the most mature way.
Yes.
One of the things I've always said is that very important never to burn bridges. You just never know. So whether it's a business relationship, whether it's interpersonal relationship, it's one of the things to where you just never know how your roads may cross later on in life.
And how you can benefit one another.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely. And there are times to where, even for myself, I've had relationships. I remember when I was, and there's so many different dynamics. I was actually engaged at a very young age, and she was young, I was very young, and at the time, there were a lot of different things that came into play. With her
Okay.
with school and different things. So we were able to kind of look at things introspectively
Okay.
and understand what the bigger picture was. And to this day, we're best friends. It's one of the things to where I'm very supportive in regard to her new marriage with her husband now
Okay.
and her son. Very proud of the woman that she's become. And a lot of times people don't realize, you go through cycles in life. The
Yes.
same person that you were when you were 20, when you're 30,
Yes.
40, your perspective is totally different. But it's always nice to be able to go to a person that you've had the history with and have a very positive feedback
Yes.
from them. So
Yes.
it's always important. So I've gone through the business breakups, I've gone through the personal relationship breakups, but I always make sure that I step back and I try to treat people the way I want to be treated.
Exactly.
I know it's a little cliche-ish, but it's definitely true.
So did you, when you went through your business, let's just tune it into business breakups, and there were probably other business people that were involved and such that you connected with. How did that happen as far as like keeping that mold together? Because you sound like you're a very positive man and you've got
Thank you.
a good level on your shoulders. But how did that happen to be able to deal with that if there was any conflict or anything, in a mature way? Because there's all the times people are coming into businesses together and,
Right.
and then they have to split for whatever reason because one's wanting to pursue it in a different way and all
Right.
that. But then there could be other people that are involved as well, your connections and things like, because I'm always
Right,
talking
right.
about people connecting and networking. So how would you take that point with having to deal with other people?
I think what it is that, when it comes to life as a whole, you have different relationships with different people.
Okay.
And there's sometimes some are more sensitive than others. Some people wear their emotions on their sleeve. Some people, you can get through to them in a different way. So I think that it's important to make sure that you maintain those separate relationships and be able to communicate.
Okay.
And that's
Communication is key.
it's
Yes,
very
yes.
key. And I know it's not an easy thing, but it allows you to be able to connect and come to a common ground. So I've had those situations to where I've had to communicate with those people separately, and then have them to kind of understand, put themselves in the other person's shoe, and then they're able to kind of understand, like, okay, well, maybe my initial response may not necessarily been the right way.
Okay, I love it because you guys are talking about your stories today, but then also you're talking about the professionalism.
Yes.
And how and the reason why I wanted to talk about the breakup is because that's what happens in life. You know, we get
Yes.
disappointed, we get down, and we have things happen where it's not always going to be put together perfectly.
Right.
So we have to deal with the situations when they happen. And so how we handle it, you said key is communication,
Yes.
key is maturity. And so if people you can surround yourself with that, you know, think on this same level, you're going to go far in life. So when you do have your breakups, you're able to face them responsibly.
Right,
You know,
right.
and you're not you don't wear your, like you said, your feelings on your shoulder,
Right.
and you know, and everything. And you know, we all are sensitive. You know,
Yes.
if we didn't say that we wasn't sensitive, we'd be lying. You know, but you know, life happens, and so we just have to deal with it the best way that we can. So I love your viewpoints. I love
Thank
that you
you.
shared this with me. Again, I want you to tell people if they would love to have you to be able to use your voiceover, your stunt, your modeling, your acting,
Yes.
your seamstress ideas, fashion designing, all that. How can people get in touch with you?
Oh, you can reach me Instagram. You can reach me on actor_Tobias Armand. It's TOBIASARMAND. Or also IM_Tobias Armand. Of course, in Facebook, Tobias Armand, my actor page. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll definitely make sure that I reciprocate.
Awesome. And what about you, Miss Dari?
I'm also on Instagram at Love Model Dari, and then I'm also on Instagram for my seamstress business at Pure Dari. That's PUREDARI. And then I'm also on Facebook as well. My
She's
personal
everywhere.
Facebook. What'd you say?
She's everywhere.
I'm everywhere. My personal Facebook is just Dari Lowe, and it's DARILO. And then I also have my seamstress page on Facebook as well as Pure Dari.
Yes. I'm going to talk about me in just a second about how you reach me, but I forgot. You sent a post about you singing.
Singing?
Yes. Yes, that was something. What was that you
Was
posted?
that me singing?
Was it you? Who was that singing?
It might have been my sister. My sister sings.
Well, I was tagged in the post.
Yep, that was my sister.
Oh my gosh. Well, you need to tell her she had me crying.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful song. Guys, if you want to know how you get in touch with me, I am Robin Shockley with Focus Forward Robin. Of course, you know, I'm all over. I'm the social media queen. You can reach me on Instagram. You can reach me on Facebook under Focus Forward with Robin. And also, if you're interested in maybe being on the show, maybe you have a pit to purpose story, maybe you're an entrepreneur or a community advocate, and you know that you can help make a difference and you want this platform, reach out to me and let me know. I'd love to talk with you about getting on the show. I'm always looking for sponsors as well. If you're interested, you know, in sowing a seed, you can always cash at me at $ Robin Shockley, or either my PayPal account, which is r.shockley18@gmail.com. I'd love to receive any blessings you want to throw this way. But seriously, I'm always looking for people that would like to be a sponsor. You'd like to plug in here at the Regina Sunshine Global Network. We are really doing some great things here. There's some other shows that are happening. Regina is just an amazing woman who is really doing some great and exciting things here in Douglasville, throughout Atlanta as well. And I really believe it's very important to know who you're connected to.
Yes.
And if you're not growing, then you're not connected to the right people.
Right.
Exactly.
And so therefore I know that I'm growing because of who I'm connected to. So, and now I'm connected to you guys.
Right.
So everything attached to us wins, right?
Exactly.
All right, this has been an amazing show. It's been great. This is Robin Shockley with Focus Forward with Robin here at the Regina Sunshine Global Network. I'm so thankful for have you on the show today, Tobias, and have
Thank
you,
you.
Miss Dari.
Thanks for having me.
You guys have been great. Y'all were so precious, and it was such a pleasure and an honor to be able to meet you at the Atlanta Actors Awards.
Great topics. And again, guys, nothing great comes from your comfort zone. So push the envelope. You can do it.
Yes, get out of that comfort zone and jump. Remember, if you think a thing, you believe a thing. If you believe a thing, you're going to achieve it just like we're doing here.
Very well said.
Yes.
Yep.